What's up, everybody? Puck Mike here, back with another video, and back with episode 3 of the Puck Mike Show, connecting hockey cards to hockey news. Be sure to check out our playlist and podcast, The Puck Mike Show, a weekly show discussing the latest and greatest hockey card news, featuring key segments like Around the League, the top news stories around the world of hockey and their impact on the hockey card market, the Card Report, card-centric hockey card news, weekly pack breaks, and so much more. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button for me, and don't forget to check out my other channel at Cards Do Sports Cards, where I share my experience selling mostly low-end sports cards on eBay. All right, on today's show, we'll be going around the league looking at the top news stories around the world of hockey and their impact on the hockey card market. We'll be looking at last week's highest and lowest selling cards according to eBay's own TerraPeak Insights tool in our segment called Needle Movers. Just added that segment last week, so really excited about that. You'll get your weekly dose of the Card Report with card-centric hobby news. We'll have this week's player spotlight, and then we will go around YouTube and see what's going on with hockey card channels around the world of YouTube. People are finishing up their 22-23 Parkhurst boxes. Still some trails of the Bedard case openings as well, but also some new hits and new boxes being opened, so stay tuned for that. So first up here is our segment going around the league, looking at some of the top news stories and what impact, if any, they've had on the hockey card market. Starting off with Mr. Josh Doan, and the crowd goes wild. So Josh Doan, NHL debut March 26th. He had 2 goals in that debut. He's played 3 games so far, I believe 5 points total, at least at the time of recording this video. 2021 second round pick. And yes, he is the son of Shane Doan, who also used to play, I believe, for the Coyotes. So Josh is 22 years old, and we're going to look at card sales here going all the way back to October 2023 up to the 25th, right before he made his NHL debut, and we see no sold cards. We see some live cards currently of Josh Norris, which is not the person that we want. But if we go to sold here, we're going to see nothing for this time frame. So if we go past the 25th and we just go to when he had his debut, which was March 26th, as I mentioned, we can go up into today. We're into April now, so April 1st. Then, well, apparently it's not letting me select April 1st for some reason. Okay, we'll go to the 31st. And we'll go to trading card singles. We see a lot of sold items. We have 17. However, I was doing some research here. I do not believe that this guy has an Upper Deck card yet. Otherwise, I think we would see it sold here. But he does have these, Tops Now stickers, which I'm really kind of confused how this is out there already. So, like, he just made his debut, so this is him in that uniform. Unless this is a picture from, but it has 3/26/24, and I'm sure this, scores twice in it. So you would think that this picture is from that. So I guess Topps just like really quickly produced this, which is kind of crazy though, right? I mean, I guess if it's just a sticker, you can roll that out pretty fast. I think it's kind of cool, but I mean, look, he's got 13 of those sold in the past week. Average sale $2.99. I mean, just for a sticker. I mean, there's nothing else out there though, right? So what else are you going to do? So we'll see if he sticks. I mean, he's 22 years old. The Coyotes are not going to make the playoffs. Who knows what's going on with their arena, even though Bettman is hopeful. Who knows? Owners got deep pockets, but they got to know where to play. So yeah, I think if he got some stickers, sell them. But it's kind of cool. I mean, to get one of these. But yeah, I don't see any UD cards yet, but it'll be interesting to see if he gets into any of the later products if he sticks around in the league. So we'll see what goes on there. I thought that was kind of interesting to note. And then next up, we're going to jump over to Mr. Adam Fantilli. So this is not actually new news that he's been hurt. He's been hurt since like January or February, I think. He had like a laceration on his calf or something like that. Like a skate like hit his calf, which is crazy. But the news came out that he's likely done for the year. I don't know if that's because of an updated medical analysis or if it's just like, hey, there's not that many games left. He's close, but why would we risk this? Because we stink. Even though they beat the Penguins the other night. But hey, Penguins stink too. So likely he's done for the year, but I just wanted to take a peek at his sales. I don't think this news is really that impactful because it's not really that surprising. But if we look at March 30th sales, which is right before, just the day before that news broke, I mean, 18 sold. And I think with him too, he's lived in the shadow a bit of, Bedard's sales, and everyone's just obsessed with Bedard. But actually a pretty decent player. Yeah. So he got some pretty good sales here. But if we look at March 31st, which was yesterday, 331, let's see what happened there. That was 17 was the other one. I don't think this is gonna be 15. Yeah, I didn't think there was gonna be any type of impact. So I just think in general with him, like I said, let's see what this one. Yeah, $399. Okay, yeah, $399. He lived in that shadow a little bit of Bedard, but I mean, I think he's had a pretty good year. It's a shame that he got hurt, but hopefully Columbus, he'll come back next year and hopefully they'll be better, and then he'll be ready to go. But yeah, so I want to check that out. Hopefully he has a good recovery. Next up, this is interesting. Ivan, I guess, Fedotov, joins the Flyers from the KHL. He's a goaltender. This guy is like 6'7". He's massive. So let's see Tortorella bench him. So yeah, card sales. Anyway, he joined the Flyers from the KHL, and he was already signed by the Flyers. And I didn't know you could do this. They kind of, I forget the actual term, but you can essentially defer the contract to a later time. So he's already signed for, I think, next season or this season. So they just had to I think activate that contract or something like that. But anyway, terminated, I think, the KHL contract. He's over here now. Obviously with the Carter Hart situation being out, their goaltending situation probably, I think, has been a little shaky. But I want to look at his card sales, and I would guess here that he probably has some of those KHL cards very similar to Konstantin Koltsov when we looked at his cards after his unfortunate passing. I don't know if this guy would have any upper deck cards, but yeah, so 24th, 28th, this was before that news broke that he was coming over. We got nothing. But if we go from March 29th, after that news broke, to, I don't know why this is not letting me go to April 1st. Might be too early in the day yet. If we go to the 29th to the 31st at least, and let's check out trading card singles and see what we got here. So we got 18 sold, but let's see what this actually is. So we got a KHL Premium Award winners. Let's see what that is. Numbered to 30. Yeah, this is probably this is a KHL official license merchandise, cereal. I don't know. Okay, so I've seen a lot of these KHL type cards. Like I said, when we looked at Koltsov's cards, they're actually kind of cool. Some of them are nice. That was 18, the highest sale. Some of these are selling for a pretty good amount. This is numbered to 15. This is 2 goaltenders, and Vasily, I don't know, but this is another. I have to check out this company, KHL licensed product as well. So $39.99. So he's, let's go to the highest sale. 128, but those were 7 of those sold. What's the highest single? 24 is the average. $65 for this one. This one's numbered to 5. Yeah, I was gonna say, wouldn't he have a team? I guess he didn't have any upper deck products. I was thinking maybe would he have sometimes you have these younger players that make their way into some of the CHL boxes. But he's older too, though. I think he's 27, and this one's autographed. Nice. $65. That's actually not that bad. I don't think he's going to have a huge, I think his quantity will go up, and these are selling for decent amounts, but I think if he comes back next year and really comes out of the gate swinging, I think the cards could really, really go up. But that's kind of cool. If you want to collect some of his cards, now might be a good time to get some of these that are popping up out there. But again, that's why we do this channel, is because there's nothing, and all of a sudden he's here and boom, people are looking for these cards. So definitely cool. And again, keep in mind too, though, this is just ebay.com. So, if we went to the to the country's side of the team he was playing for in the KHL, we might see some other sales, but again, it would be those KHL cards. But interesting stuff. So let's move on here. What else we got? I'm not going to look at card sales on this one, but Marc-Andre Fleury mentioned that he won't rule out playing for the Minnesota Wild next season. I don't know if I see him retiring. I think he's still got some stuff in the tank. I think it's a lot for him to be number one, but nowadays it's 1A, 1B, 1C. I mean, there's, you don't play the whole season, even though that seems to be an issue for Marty Brodeur. But, I think, hey, he could come back to the Penguins. You never know, right? But yeah, he, he's somebody that's, his cards are pretty much going to sell. We've talked about that on previous shows too. I mean, he's definitely going to the Hall of Fame, so I don't see, that's why I'm not going to look at card sales. I don't see that being an impact at all. Actually, when he does eventually retire, we saw this with, I think, who did we see this with? I can't remember. They actually kind of went up a little bit, when it was Wayne Simmons, yeah. Obviously, Fleury's a little bit better than Simmons on the scale of Fleury's going to go to the Hall of Fame, but after Wayne Simmons announced his retirement, his cards had a spike, so if you got his cards, maybe hold on to him until he retires. I don't know. This is interesting. A Saving Sakic documentary. Some of these hockey, there's a bunch of them on ESPN Plus. Some of them look interesting. I've watched them. I watched like PK's places, PK Subban. It was interesting, although I'm not really a fan of Subban anymore, to be honest. But Saving Sakic documentary. Some of these are cool. Some of these are kind of boring, but this looks interesting. Premiering on April 16th for Prime members in Canada and April 17th for ESPN Plus subscribers in the U.S. This documentary follows the high-stakes saga that ensued when Colorado Avalanche chairman and CEO Charlie Lyons was completely blindsided, apparently, by an attempt to sign away the captain of his team, Joe Sakic. With only 7 days to raise $15 million to save his star, Charlie finds a lifeline from an unexpected place, Hollywood. I don't know what any of that means. Didn't even know that at all, honest, that Sakic was, I guess... I don't know what that means. So what was the GM going to trade him? He didn't know, and then all of a sudden he's like, wait, what? Hold up. I don't know. That might be interesting to see. And speaking of Joe Sakic, don't forget, I still have my Young Guns Legend Canadian exclusive number to 25. Got a 9.5 there from SGC. That's up on the eBay store, Cards Do Sports Cards, if anybody wants to check it out. That might be an interesting documentary. I love hockey stuff, hockey history, all that kind of stuff. Some of the older stuff, not super interesting to me. Some of it is, but also some of it's not that interesting. But that might be kind of cool. And then... last thing here before we move on to needle movers is Bedard was quoted saying about Macklin Celebrini, who is the projected number one pick for the upcoming draft. He said he's a special player. So, of course, he's not going to be like, he sucks. But I was going to look at Sakic cards. I don't think we're going to actually do that, though, because I think his probably sell regardless. Let's jump ahead here and look at Celebrini's stuff. So if we look at just this pretty much this year, let's actually switch this to trading card singles. He probably would have like some of those Team Canada, 258 sold just this year. And his hype is already, you're not really going to get a deal and a steal with his stuff because he's pretty much going to be the number one pick, I think. So like the time, the time to like steal one of his cards would have been a while ago. But yeah, here we go. Team Canada Juniors. This was 2023. These are, wait, this isn't CHL, is it? I hate when they don't have the back. Well, $14.99. That's not too bad. Here's one of the red foils. That looks interesting. Again, not putting the back of the card here. What's going on, guys? Got a Hot Shot Prospect, $29.99. What's that all about? Hot Shot. 2020 Hot Shot Prospects. Don't really know any of those. That's a 10 from Black Diamond Grading. Edges are 9, but overall, okay. $29.99. Yeah, so he's got some decent cards. I kind of just wanted to look because honestly, I haven't looked at any of his stuff. I kind of wanted to look what was going on with his cards. I think that, I think going into next year with Bedard, like Bedard's been the big story, obviously. And I don't know if the one of one's going to be pulled by next year. I mean, even if it is, that'll drown out some noise for Celebrini, sure. But like, depending on obviously what team Celebrini gets drafted to, and hey, what if it was Chicago? Whoa, McDavid and Draisaitl, huh? Teaming up, right? That'll play a factor, I think, in how he has his first year. But I don't think. I think some of the dust will have at least settled with Bedard. That I don't think Celebrini will be drowned out by some of that. I'm completely Bedard fatigued. I'm so sick of hearing about it. I know I'm talking about it. I'm contributing to that. But, we'll mention it here and there just because people are still opening boxes. They're still, I think some of I thought I read somewhere that some of the sales have went down a little bit for his stuff. But anyway, pretty interesting. It'll be interesting to track Celebrini, see what happens after he's drafted and where things go from there. All right, on to the next segment called Needle Movers, where I basically go to eBay here again. This is Terapeak Product Insights. On eBay, I believe you have to have a store subscription, at least the basic subscription, to get access to this, but really cool stuff. This is a quick search for hockey cards in the past week, and when I've noticed when I'm doing these, I'm going to start doing just the past week. So I'm recording this obviously on this is April 1st, and I want to just cut it off on the end of last week because I think I included the last couple days as well past this week in last week's video, so I want to just cut it off there so that we can keep it consistent. We don't have overlap basically from week to weeks. But we're just going to look at, and you're just getting my unfiltered reaction here to these card sales. We can kind of see what sold the most, what sold the least, for the least. Can't even talk. So these ones, and this is part of why I want to cut it off at the end of the next week. Last week's show, we caught these on last week's show. This Cup, McDavid, the Bobby Orr stuff, PSA 6. That's all for 12. Let's look at that one. I want to look at this because I'm doing a video on my other channel, Cards View Sports Cards, about grading cards, and I talked about how these older cards usually get a lower grade, and that's typically common because if they're not graded back then or kept in really good condition, I mean, they wear over time. Especially these older ones are not. They're pretty thin, and they're just kind of that card stock. So a 6, that looks in good condition. This is such a cool looking card. 12,000, gosh. That is so crazy. I read about that too I have that book, that OPG hockey card storybook. That was one of the designs they talked about. Gretzky here, 5,000 BVG. I swear this is also something I talked about I'm going to talk about in that video I'll be publishing later this week on my other channel. Beckett. Duh. I thought it was Beckett card. Maybe that's an older name they went by. Okay. What else we got here? Bedard. Yeah, we saw that one. 5,000. There's some other stuff down here. Mikko Rantanen, 1 of 1. Is this 15-16? Ooh, tobacco card. Let's see. I think my brother-in-law said he has one of these tobacco cards somewhere, but I don't think he knows where. So this is a 6. Frank Patrick. This is so cool. The 22-23 Parkhurst. It's not the tobacco card, but they have those mini retro like mini cards inserts. Those actually look really cool. I love those like designs. Although people will be rushing to buy very small top loaders I don't even know if they make those. Ovi Young Guns, 3,700. That's a mint. I don't like these designs as much. I know this was the 05, 06, right? What was it? Yeah, I don't like these Young Guns designs because Sid's is like this too, I think, right? I would have thought that would have sold for more than 3,700. I think. Honestly, I wouldn't have sold this because when he breaks the goal record of Gretzky, which I believe he will, I think we'll see a bump. We'll track that. I think we'll see a bump on his cards. And hey, hats off to the Capitals. They're retooling and still in the playoff hunt. And they sold off some assets last year at the deadline. They're doing what the Penguins should have been doing or trying to do. Bedard is all over this thing. Anyway, that's some of the high stuff. Let's look at some of the lows. I don't want to drag this segment out too long. 1 cent, 1 cent. And I talked about this last time too. There's sniping tools you can use to set like a price, and it's an external tool from eBay. You can set, hey, when this is kind of the item I'm looking for, with 5 seconds left, I want to bid, 99 cents, and you can snipe that card really quick if no one else has bid on it. But the only question I have is if anybody has used these tools, let me know. What if, other people are probably going to do that too, though, right? So what happens if all of you are going to snipe it? Like who gets the first? But what do we got here? A WA 9192. That looks like, what is that? That's just a junk wax. 1 cent. Free shipping. Yeah, but see, this WA stuff sells pretty decent. Somebody could have sniped that, sell that for $1.99. Free shipping. Somebody will buy that. That's a pretty good return. So I need to get in on some of this stuff. If you're using these tools, let me know, like a sniping tool. Does it say when the auction was ended? Like, it says what day, but yeah, it does. Bidding sold on March 28th at 8:14 p.m. All right, let's look at some of these other 1 cent ones and see when these things. Of course, some of these are like $4 shipping. Get out of here. Ooh, this is a numbered March 26th at 5:24 a.m. Well, of course, who's gonna be awake in the U.S. checking that? This one is nice. A gold number to $9.99. Oh man, $2 shipping too. Well, that probably is not gonna bring a huge return though. Maybe $4 or $5. I don't know. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah. So that has been another edition of Needle Movers, looking at last week's highest and lowest card sales and getting my unfiltered reaction. Pretty cool stuff. Let's move on to another edition of The Card Report. Not a ton happening this week, but one thing here, some rare and unique hockey memorabilia from the estate of Mr. Hockey himself. Gordie Howe is up for bid at Frozen Pond Incorporated. So the online auction at Frozen Pond, which specializes in autographed hockey memorabilia, features 524 lots of some of the most unique Gordie Howe items ever made available to the public. Proceeds from the auction will benefit the Howe Foundation, the official charity of Gordie Howe and Colleen Howe. I checked out the website. There's some cards, there's some jerseys, there's some pics. I think there's other stuff, even like cigar boxes and stuff like that. So yeah, check it out. I'm not a huge picture. This is a picture of Howe with, the coach, and they both signed it. I'm not a huge fan of autographed pictures when it comes to sports, partly because backwards being a collector and reseller is I try not to be too materialistic about them. The pictures take up so much space, and then if you're selling pictures versus cards on eBay, then you got a whole nother bunch of shipping supplies, and it's a whole world I've tried to honestly stay out of. So not a huge fan of those, to be honest, but check that out. Really cool. And then the other thing I'll mention here before we move on to this week's player spotlight is the 15th annual National Hockey Card Day promotion founded by Upper Deck is set for Saturday, April 13th with the Chicago Blackhawks rookie featured, Connor Bedard that is, featured in 2 cards on the set, 1 regular card and 1 being offered as a bonus with a purchase. So several other top NHL rookies are part of this year's creation by visiting multiple participating stores. Collectors can receive a free National Hockey Card Day pack and trade with other collectors to complete the set. So if you go to, I've just heard about this. I've always kind of wondered what the National Hockey Card Day thing is. I didn't know it was free packs. So if you go to sportscollectorsdaily.com, their website, there's a list of participating stores, all in, at least in the U.S. I don't know if it's beyond the U.S. because I zoned in on the U.S. because that's where I'm at. But for participating stores in this, and I believe you can go and just get, I think, a free pack of these cards, and there could be a Bedard rookie in there. So check it out. There's definitely some where I live that I'm kind of tempted to go check it out and see. I don't know. We might do that, but really cool stuff there. You can get a Bedard maybe for free, and I bet you those will be selling for, somebody's going to grade some of those. They're going to sell for $1,000. It's getting ridiculous, guys. Not saying I wouldn't do that if I had the chance, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, but yeah, some pretty cool stuff there. Not much to cover this week on the card report, but yeah, check that out. And this has been another edition of The Card Report. All right, moving on to this week's player spotlight. Really looked hard as kind of what player I wanted to spotlight this week, but I thought it would be good. We're talking a lot about Bedard. We talked about Celebrini. The season's almost over. We're going to know pretty soon at least what that draft order is going to look like pre-draft lottery. So I wanted to actually go back a little bit and spotlight Mr. Alexei Lafreniere. First round pick in 2020. I remember I was actually in Florida on vacation at the time, watching the draft, and it was pretty cool. So I wanted to pull up his points to game ratio since entering the league, because, I think a lot of people maybe expected, which they would expect from a lot of first round picks that are coming directly into the league from the draft. He's going to come in, he's going to just, having 100-point season right out of the gate, win rookie of the year. And obviously, that wasn't the case with Laffy. He had some time to adjust, which makes sense because you're playing with kids and then you're playing with grown men. It's a big difference. But, since he's joined the league, his points to game ratio has steadily increased every year. So he had 37% the first year, and we're basically taking the amount of points he had divided by the total games he had for that year. 39% the second year, 48% the third year. And I think that might have been the year Gallant was the coach. Maybe that was the second year. And 70 this year. So he's having a really good year. And part of the reason why I wanted to cover this too, he had his first career hat trick on March 30th. So I don't think he's a bust at all. I think he's a really good, I said this like a year or so ago, I think he was going to develop into a really good power forward, wasn't going to score like a ton, but he actually is now putting up some points too. Granted, the Rangers are doing well, so that helps. But I wanted to look at just kind of what his cards did in the past week and kind of where his Young Guns was selling. If you look at just his Young Guns, 213 sold from the 17th to the 24th. Actually, we might even look at the 25th we might even look at the following week too. But, just like a base version of it. And I don't think it's selling for a lot. I think I did take a peek at this before. Yeah, so this one here is just regular $48, and I actually do have one of his in the collection. I wanted to get it. I think I paid like $90 for it. I know it was kind of high at the time, but I just wanted to have one in the collection because like everyone was talking about him, and it wasn't like Bedard crazy prices. Like you could actually afford it a little bit. So 48, and I don't think there's going to be a huge. This one's only 27. Yeah, so his Young Guns is not. Oh wait, that's a canvas. His Young Gun's not going for crazy amounts right now, and I honestly don't think that I think he's past the point of he's going to have this huge jump of like, now his Young Guns is back up to $1,000 again. Like, he was the number one pick. Now he's finally getting some traction, and people I think are more comfortable not calling him a bust. And so I think that because of that, he is... I think because of that, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I think because of that, he is, always going to have, I think, consistent sales in terms of prices. I think that some of the values could increase, sure. I'm sorry, some of the quantities that could be sold here could increase as certain things happen. Maybe he has a 90-point season, you know what I mean? But I don't think you're going to see his Young Guns jump back up to like $500 ever. I don't see that. Let's go to the 25th here. What was that through the 24th? Let's go to the 25th. Just to the 31st and see. This thing, you gotta always change this. Okay, 246. It's pretty much the same though, right? Clear cut, yeah. Clear cut auto. Wait, is that a Young Guns clear cut auto? Man, that is a cool looking card. Because I've even thought too, like he's maybe the dust has settled a little bit. I can get some of his cards, like something like this, a little cheaper. But they're holding up. So I've been surprised by that every time I've checked that his cards have kind of held up over time. So I thought it would be interesting to kind of spotlight him and look at his stuff. It will be interesting to see if he sticks with the Rangers. I think if they're doing good, he does. I think that if I think his contract is I think he's on a 2-year deal right now, so maybe he's up at the end of this year or the year after. He'll be due a raise, so there will be a crossroads of can we afford it? That always happens, But I think if he's still trending up and the Rangers are still good, I think they keep him around. But, if they start tanking, there could be a different discussion, but I don't see that happening. So pretty cool stuff. That's this week's player spotlight. And then lastly here, we're going to jump around YouTube very quickly. And look at some of the channels what's going on with some of the hockey card channels around YouTube. You know, a lot of people, like I said, they're finishing up their cases of Series 2. I think Ziri finished up his case. I think he ended up getting like a couple other Bedard Young Guns. But nothing, none of the Outbursts or none of the gold, I think, is still out there. Leaf Metal, that's still being opened by a lot of channels. And Fulton Cards, this guy's getting so lucky. I think he got another one-of-one medal. And he got a previous one, and then he got another one, I think, out of the Leaf Metal box. It's a Wade Boggs and Raymond Bourque We Own the City card, which I think is like super cool because you're combining the different sports. I think that is really awesome, and of course I'll throw that up as I'm talking here, but really cool card there. Another channel, I checked out some of his stuff, Standing Ovation. I've seen his videos before. He had a 50 card PSA reveal. There's some pretty cool hockey cards in there. There's nothing super crazy that I saw. There's I think a Heiskanen Young Guns and but there's some cool Young Guns and inserts, so check that out. And then a really nice Mason McTavish auto from the Parkhurst box, pulled by Just Hockey Cards. So check that one out too. That's a really cool card. You know, looking ahead, of course, CHL supposed to come out, I think, April 10th, but you just never know with this stuff if that'll be the case or not. But we should see some product coming out this month at least, so we'll have some more stuff to talk about. But that's it, guys. That is the end of today's show. That's episode 3. Of course, be sure to check out our playlist and podcast, The Puck Mike Show, a weekly show discussing the latest and greatest hockey card news, featuring key segments like Around the League, the top news stories around the world of hockey and their impact on the hockey card market, the Card Report, card-centric hockey card news, weekly pack breaks, and so much more. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me, and don't forget to check out my other channel, as I mentioned, at Card Zoo Sports Cards, where I share my experience selling mostly low-end sports cards on eBay. Thank y'all so much for watching, and yeah, I'll check you later.